And hello everyone, Gyro here. And this video is going to be my prep video and bag selection video for the Loch Ness Disc Golf Tournament in Springfield, Tennessee at Travis Price Park, ran by Disking Disciples. They are the team that I play on. And so we're going to talk about the holes, the discs we're going to use, and try to be somewhat brief about it. So if you're in my iRacing crowd or Clyde crowd, stay tuned. Touch some grass, enjoy some sunshine, get a beverage. The analytics will be much appreciated. So, Travis Price, it's a half and half course basically, half woods roughly, half open field, like giant open field. And so the first big thing is you really need a composite bag, and disc selection is really, really critical. Secondly, you're going to have to be humble. This is a course where if you try to play aggressive, once it bites, you are staring at doubles and triples and others very quickly. The margin of error is smaller than you think. The wood holes are tough but fair, except one hole. There's one hole I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So, the tough holes on the front, hole 2, is you have the first big decision of the round. It's right in front of you. Because about 125 feet off the tee, the hole starts going way uphill, and it's very narrow, and the road is OB right there. So if you have a forehand, you better hope it gets back. And so if you're playing into the wind, it's a monster of a hole. I am going to be playing that hole in a very defensive way. I'm going to be playing for 5. It's 440 feet signed. It really plays 500. I would argue it plays more than 500. It may play like 515, 520. And you can't go long in the basket because there's a fence that's also out of bounds. So you have to get far enough up so where you can bail out right if you need to. So I've already made the decision, play that hole for 5. The really tough stretch on the front is holes 5, 6, 7. 5 is the one hole I have a criticism on. It's very poke and hope. There's too many trees. It's a turnover shot for right-handers. I like the idea of the hole. I think there's 2 trees they got to take out. They take 2 trees, it's a very good hole. It's the only hole I have criticism over. That's how good this course is. Hole 6 is a par 4 that goes uphill, hard left-hander, and goes uphill again. You cannot miss the fairway on the first shot. I'm going to be throwing a mid. I may be throwing one of the new mids I've put in just to get it in play. And so that hole I'm going to play as a 5 as well. Because, okay, if I advance in the fairway, even if it's 150 feet, you're in the fairway. You're going to gain shots on your competitors. And then hole 7 is downhill and then back uphill. You have 2 gaps you have to hit off the tee. You have left gap, right gap. You cannot be right. The way that this course is maintained and all that, there is part of the fairway that tends to be, if you're in here, it's a natural OB. There in the practice round, I had to pitch out backwards a couple times. You just cannot miss there. And so definitely it's a course where nowhere to miss. Nowhere you can afford to miss. So open holes, 8 and 9 play longer than sign because of the wind, especially 9. 9 is 460, par 3, and if it's into the wind, plus the fact it's slightly uphill, it's not much, it's just a little bit, it's easily playing 500. Like I threw 2 fission photons and was still quite a bit short. It just plays long. 12 is, that's a hole where big numbers have to be avoided. Because It's a chute. There's a barbed wire fence on the left. There's a lot of barbed wire fence on the right. Woods on the left. You have to get it in the fairway. You don't have a choice. I'm probably going to throw a mid just to get it in position to where now the second shot, I can just go hell-bent for leather, fade it way over, and once again, I'm playing that hole for 5. It's a par 4. It's a long one. It's 630. But because you need something very stable, it is just long. And then 13 is just long, even though it's down the hill. It's just long. 14 and 15 are very nice par 3s, enjoyable shot shapes. In 14, you don't go into what's called the pit, which is short right of the basket. Your bailout is left. And in 15, your bailout is also left because there's this beautiful tree and there's an overhang on the right side. Where if you try to hyzer it in, you're going to hit it. And now you have a very tricky upshot with that. And now it's 16. 16 is signed about 850. It plays over 1,000. It's uphill. It's a true par 5. I wrote in my journal, if I make 7, that's not embarrassing. That's how tough this hole is. Because once you get on the upslope, it is very hard to get your max distance. You're just shooting up. And that's the theme of this course. It's very hilly. Expect very few flat lies. So that's definitely consideration. And then you're back in the woods for 17 and 18. Very nice wood holes. Overall, I like this course. It's just long. And it has to have a game plan. You cannot play this blind. You play this blind, you're in bad shape. So I'm really happy I got the practice round in yesterday. That was a good decision. So with that brief course, let's go to the discs. And there have been a lot of changes. Even since the last video, we've made more changes. Just because I'm still trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't. So let's talk, let's put that back. Let's talk putter and putters, haven't changed. KC Pro AVR, this is the one that's a little straighter now than this. 150 gram. I am getting a little bit of a spin putt. And yesterday I ran my spin putts. I barely missed the basket 7 times. The height was good, just needed it to catch the basket. It would have dropped. This plastic, when it is warm outside, is starting to get nice and grippy. Very happy about that. Using the Rubble Bag and the Rovic cart. This is definitely a cart course. You'll be very happy about that. All right, let's talk about approach, disc / putters. We still have the trusty Nova. Doing very solid work. This is my straight, especially in the woods. Such a critical putter. Still have the Rhino for my overstable approaches. I am carrying a pig as backup because I don't have many of these outside of maybe having to put like a heavier, well, what would be a lighter weight zone, but it's still like 164. I'm really trying to honor my weights on this. But this disc, it's the old R Pro, so it's a little bit firm, but it's starting to beat in really good. Very happy about that. But now the 2 new molds for this. We need an Envy. This is 163 grams. I do have Simon Lazat's Music City Open Envy that was below 160. This is straight stable. This is what I need in open holes to where I can swing the disc wide and just let it play the dump game. It's just like I'm playing trade winds all over again. That's the open holes here. Swing the thing out wide and just let it do its thing. And just play the giant hyzer game. But I've put an Envy in. It does what Envies do. I might be throwing this on hole 6. I may even throw it on hole 7 just to keep it out of the right. To be determined. Now, I brought back the old atom. This is 156 grams. I've had this atom for years. Right now, it's pretty straight. It will hold the line. My goal this week is to throw it against some trees. And what I want is I want a drift. Not as pronounced as that XT Aviar I was talking about where it just went, eh. No, I want a little bit more gradual turn. The way that this course is set up, you need that kind of disc. And, you know, with the next disc, you don't need a rapid one. But I'm going to beat this atom, and it's an electron firm. And I like how the atoms feel in my hand. So if I get some light ones, I may keep it in the bag. All right, so those are the top 2 slots of the rubble bag. We're now in the main. Let's talk mid-ranges. So I'm going to go from least stable to most stable. It's kind of how I like to set my bag up. We still have the trusty Rolo. I might throw this on hole 5, depending on how I'm feeling. Otherwise, it's going to be a different disc. Otherwise, this is really just a situational disc for this course. There's not a lot of holes where the holes turn so far right where you need this. But it's definitely going to be a nice to have, especially if, hey, I may need to throw a roller, like I may have to throw a thumber roller on 2 to get it to get back in the fairway, depending on where I'm at. So I'm happy to have it. Now, the rest of the mids have completely changed. Partly for testing and partly for, hey, I know what this mid does. So if you remember, it was the Rock X3, still great. But I found 3 of a different mold. I went, hey, that's pretty good. The straight disc, which was the Rock 3, I needed a disc that fell forward. It doesn't fall forward, it drops. So I've found one of the older OGs, and I've had this particular disc for a while. And then for the Mako 3, I have a disc that does what I want it to do, which is gradual turn, but then straightens. So here we go. Infinite disc. I want to say this is Iblin. This is the Anubis. From what I understand, this is the old Mako. 152 grams. I threw this on 14 yesterday, and it just dragged, and then straightened up and dropped. Oh, so good. So good. So I'm very happy to have found that. That went straight in the bag. I threw that one shot and went, oh, I like that. Air Compass. This has Ricky's signature on it, so you know it's old. This is stamped at 161 grams. When I weighed it, it's just under 160. This is going to be, even though it's 5501, it's Opto Air, so it starts slightly stable, and then once it beats in, and I have some Truths back there. I have another Air Compass back there. I have 4 lightweight buzzes, 2 in recycled ESP, 1 in X. Actually, 2 in X. 1 is the newer X and the older X. So I have this slot covered. And as this beats in, it may become that backup. And that saves me some money, because we're really trying to do this on a no spend in terms of plastic. That's really the goal. Now, this last mold, if you remember in 2019, I raved about this mold. I was throwing an all-disc craft bag for the most part before the body just started breaking down, trying to qualify for MA40, since we found out that Worlds was going to be in Orlando. This was obviously before COVID. This is 157 grams, and I have 3 of these. I know. It's a Malta. This is Signature ESP. This one I've chosen because it's got this interesting yellow swirl. The other 2 don't have this. This thing is very similar to a Rock X3. And as this beats in, it's going to become what I wanted my Rock 3 to be and come over. I am so happy to have found this. And I really like my mid-range lineup. I have all my shots covered. It doesn't mean that the other ones were bad, but specifically Rock 3, Mako 3 are definitely woods only. The Rock X3 can come in and out. That's fine. And the Rollo's a Rollo. That's likely never going away. I can't see what it would replace. All right, fairway drivers. Big changes here. As you know, the Leopard is out. For this tournament, I've taken it out because I'm testing something else in that slot. T-Bird is, hey, but I have something else that I'm testing out in this tournament. And then for my Flippy, I definitely have gone Flippy. So, let's start with a diamond. This is 146 grams. You now know what I'm going to be throwing on some of these wood holes. It's a diamond, as I need the disc to go right. I'm not so concerned if it straightens out, but as long as I hit the main line, it turns right, we can deal with the consequences. Very important disc for me going up the hill. In my backup bag, I've put the Frost in there. If I can find the Underworld, I may put that in there in the backup bag. But this is going to be a pretty important mold next Saturday. So in my it slot, the Vortex. Ever since I got this Vortex, and these two Vortexes are 157 grams. I have a green one and this one. This is the one I've been throwing, starting to beat in. This is very close to ESP plastic. I don't know what they call it. Is it Proline? DGA people, you know what I'm talking about. This is now what's going to be the it disc, where it goes straight and it has a little drift. Cool. But this is the Leopard 3 slot that I put back over there. I have put a river in the backup bag. Don't see where I'm going to throw it yet, but I have it just in case. But this Vortex and the Diamond are going to get a lot of work. It's just got a little bit of wear on it, which is what I want. I want a little bit of wear. I want this thing to start drifting. Now, in the straight stable slot, I had a Hawkeye. Still love the Hawkeye. But this week, I'm testing the Cicada. 157 gram ESP. It is a 7.6 -1 But the thing I like, and I'm one of those people, I like the Discraft stability numbers. It's a 0.5. This disc is actually going to be thrown in the open, not in the woods. What I'm finding is because it's very flat. It's not quite puddle top, it's flat. It has a nice finish. It forward drops, which I really like in that slot. Quite happy with that. Now, have I forgotten a mold? Yes, I have. I am missing a mold. It's because it was in the wrong spot. So instead of the T-Bird, we brought back an old friend, Air Explorer. 158 grams. It's a G-Star T-Bird. It's going to beat in a little bit. I have a Star T-Bird that's this weight in the backup bag. What I'm trying to find out is, will these Opto Air in the summer give me better grip? Because if it does, you're going to see me consume as many trilogy discs as I can. Remember, we're on a no spin. We want to keep the plastics uniform. So, this is in for the T-Bird. I personally think that G-Star T-Bird has a little bit more stand-up. This will be a little bit more bite, just because of the difference in plastic. So they're very similarly weighted. So that is my fairway drivers. Now, control drivers. Big changes yet again. Big changes. So, we have taken out all of the drivers that we did, Roadrunner, a couple of Sidewinders, things thereof, Dynasty. Outside of that bad Sidewinder, it is. It's right over there. It's still in the naughty corner. It's going to be there in a while. I went with a mostly trilogy attack. So from Lee Stable, we've brought back the old G air hatchet. This is 157 grams. This is the oldest trilogy disc that I have. I know when I purchased this, it was 2016. Still have it. It's got a little bit of sparkle. This is the tailwind driver, and with the weight of the wind plays, this may get thrown quite a bit, especially if my form is struggling with the distance drivers. We may take those 11 speeds out and just play with 9 and lower. I'll add an extra disc in the control driver slot and in the fairway driver slot. So a river will definitely go in. That will be first up. And then in this, I don't have any escapes anymore, so might be a getaway. Might be a getaway just because of what I have at the top end. But air hatchet, it's come back, it's ready to go. Got backups of those. The next one, this disc was a workhorse yesterday. 155 gram Goldline Jade, not the original. The original is, I want to say it was yellow. No, it's Goldline. It was green. Which I still have. It's in the backup. This disc, as you see, it's not too domey, but it's got a little bit of dome. I like domey discs because that promotes a little bit of understability. This, for me, goes dead straight. If I get on it, it does have the turn, but it falls straight down. Such an underrated disc. I will say this right now, that is better than the Sapphire. It's just better. More people can throw that. The Sapphire requires a fair bit of energy to put in the disc. I would recommend going to either Gotta Go, Gotta Throw or Disc Golf Center. And they have their flight ratings, and then they have numbers that tell you, here's the expected distance for this disc, here's how much power you need. This, I believe, is a 4. But the Sapphire is a 5 in terms of power input. What does that mean? It means it takes, I'm going to look it up right now because I'm now very curious. What that means is if you are a modest arm like I'm modest. And that's being polite. I'm probably down 5 miles per hour. That's 35 feet. So the Jade is rated at a 4 level of power, but the Sapphire, I'm pretty sure, is a 5. Yeah, it's definitely a 5. If you're struggling to get the Sapphire up to speed, this is the answer. I have plenty of those. Plenty. That slot is covered. I have the Shimmer. I have Goldline. I got the 2 color ones. I even have an old biorecycled one. Nice. So as I beat it in, you know, Lord willing, if I ever run out of hatchets, just beat in a couple jades, it fits that slot. All right, the Saint. This one is 156 grams. If you notice, this is somewhat flat. This is what the old escape slot was going to be. Big fan of the Saint. You only need 4 level power looking at Disc Golf Center's numbers. This disc goes dead straight and it has finish. If I'm into the wind a little bit, I may throw this instead of one of the two 11 speeds I have. Just because this thing will glide and glide, and then finally. This is the longer river, if you're not familiar. For slower speeds like myself, this could end up being your farthest disc. That's how good this is. And then, for the first time ever in tournament play, I'm throwing a Thunderbird. It's 148 grams in pro. As you see, it is domey. This is my overstable control driver. Throw this in the wind, it's not flipping over. There you are. Now, distance drivers. I've made some changes in distance drivers. So Saturday, I tested 146 gram wave, 147 gram photon. The wave does not work for me. I was very frustrated with the wave. And part of it is the way that the shoulder is. Where the thumb goes, the thumb is not flat against the flight plate. It's curved, so you can't get a snap. And the waves I have, they all have that. So it just drives me up the wall. So I decided, no, get this out of the bag. So all of my faster than 9-speed gyro discs, they're gone. And the 9 speeds that gyro has, they may also be gone. Because just the way my mechanics are, they're just not good for me anymore. I have to go a different direction. All right, my very beef distance driver slot. Here's another OG. The Surge is 150. This is the SS. 150 gram. It's a 1.6. And this thing into the wind will hold, and come back. Good to find that. That made me happy. Because now it takes pressure off of the another oldie but goodie. This is a Star Wraith. 134 grams. This is my straight, slight finish. Those two may get a workout. If I have good form that day, that's what's going to happen. So I took out the wave. I took out the turn. And I've decided Mambas are the way forward. 2 G-Star Mambas, but different weights. This is 150 gram. This one, which is much more thrown, 139. So this is tailwind. This is intended to be straight. I expect these two to be thrown a lot on Saturday for max distance. The thing that I like is the lighter one has a dome, but the heavier one is a little flatter. So there's a little bit more stability and integrity to this. And it has a lot of glide. It's a 6 glide disc. It's a Mamba. If you have never thrown a Mamba, it only takes level 3 power per DGC. If you put a sail in your hand, almost the same numbers, 11.5, -5.1, it is much, much harder to throw a sail. Sail has so much dome to it, even though it's 3 rated. 6-sided disc did a test, and the sail was not like the Mamba. Very different mold. So get yourself a Mamba. If you're too strong for a Mamba, try Halo Mamba, or go up one step in stability to Mystere, another underrated disc. I would love to be able to throw Mysteres. If for whatever reason I couldn't get, I haven't found many lightweight ones. I only found one, and it's Halo Star at 149 grams on Infinite. And the problem is that will fly too close to that. So these are my discs that I'm going into battle with. So, how am I going to go about this? This is a course where you got to have a game plan. You got to have a game plan. You cannot wing this course. You have to play this course on merit. Right now, we have 21 people signed up. We're probably going to get about 40. Part of it is anyone who played BGA tier, they spent $99 plus food, gas, and all that. So they're probably looking, even though it's $30, they've lowered the price. Cool. That leads to the second thing is there, I believe one of the West Kentucky Disc Golf Tour events is going on this weekend as well. So I want to say that's Mayfield, I think is where that's at. Right now, looking at this, there's no one in MA50. The one person that would be MA50, he's playing MA2 because he needs the competition. Mike is a baller. I think he's over 900 rated. There's 3 in MA4. Steve Franklin, he is currently in MA70. He's thinking about dropping down into MA4. Looking at MA4 right now, you have an 837, a 733, and an 819. My rating is not going to change very much. It's just not. Steve plays pretty good. He's 770. He's pretty good. So MA2 definitely has some depth to it as well. So give you an idea, Mike is 928. And he's MA50 eligible. So if you're, I think it's 935 or higher, you have to play up in MA1 advanced. But everyone's playing the same course. Keep that in mind. So 3 in MA3 right now. So I'm going to sign up for MA50 knowing I can always drop down to MA4. Just because I want to play in my own division. But outside of that, that's really it. Project. Breaking the Circle project. It's at least 18 months. It may take 2.5 years. When I turn 54 is when I'm eligible for MA55. Because my birthday falls in a very nice situation where I kind of get to cheat it a little bit. So there you are. So hope everyone takes care. Make sure you touch some grass. Get some vitamin D. As always, take care of yourself, one another. God bless. We'll see you next time.